The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing.
Good evening, guys. This is the Critical Mass Show with myself, Paul Giovanni, on Critical Mass Radio. Thank you all for joining me this evening, wherever you are in the world, listening to this later on podcast, or if you're just sitting down comfortably, if you're in the chat room, if you're listening through Blog Talk. Guys, wherever you are, thank you. I hope you are all well. Right, to business. Firstly, of course, thank you to the man Vettel with the Peace of Mind show. Great pace tonight on the show. Really enjoyed that. Well done to you, mate. Vettel will be back with us next week. Vettel is going through a bit of a change at the moment. I don't mean sexually. He's going through a bit of a move, and he's just had a little baby boy, and everything's up in the air, and he's still managing to put shows together, which is hard, you know. So well done to you, mate. Very good on you. Explanation to why there was no Critical Mass show last week. As you can see, guys, the new site is up. The old site was taken down 20 minutes before the beginning of the show of Vettel's show last week, which didn't give me time to sort of set up and adjust and get everything in order. In fact, I was spending all my time trying to find out where the site had gone. So forgive me. It's just one of those things, unfortunately. Things happen for a reason. I still don't know why that happened at the time it did. Maybe the show wasn't up to scratch and someone said, "You're not going on tonight, boy." That is it. So anyway, listen. What I want to say before, there's a couple of things that I sort of need to address before we go on. I want to say thank you to Yvonne in the chat room, and Yvonne has helped the station tremendously this week. So much love to you, Yvonne. Thank you very, very much. It's a great help. And also thank you for your lovely emails as well, which has sort of pushed the topic tonight in a direction that I wasn't expecting. I didn't want to have a guest on tonight because with the new site and the conference that we've got in the next couple of weeks, it's not fair to get a guest on and then just basically not give them the attention that is needed. I don't feel that's fair. It's not worth it, and it comes across bad, and it's not fair on you guys listening either. So I thought I'll refrain from having a guest on. There's lots to talk about, and I'll do my best. Now, in saying that, it's a funny thing because I'm always talking to people, new people all the time. I have a fantastic time most days, just, people come into your life. And one such gent is a chap called Tony that I was speaking to today for about 10 minutes. And it's the 10 minutes that has impacted my life in such a way. I can't wait to speak to this guy again. He just appeared on a Skype chat room, said, "You got a minute?" And then it was bang, it had me on the back of my seat for 10 minutes. It was like, where's this gent just come from? So what I'll do, because if I'm benefiting, I want you guys to, because this guy I think he's something special, just a gut feeling. www.awakeconsciousness.com. Beg your pardon, www.awakecosmicconsciousness.com. Do forgive me, awakecosmicconsciousness.com. Please check this guy out and his site. He's actually a host himself. He has his own show, and we're sort of in the beginning stages of getting a show on this station. I was that impressed with the lad. He's just amazing. He said some things, and you know what? I think he's going to put a few of us in our place, and I think he's going to help a lot of us as well. So well done to basically. What I want you to do is get onto this site and have a look, because Tony just there's a lot going on around this guy, and I think he's in the right place right now, and we need to be around him. So good on you, sir. Please check that site out, and I'll tell you what. Why it'd be easier if I did this, wouldn't it? It would be easier if I did this. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. I'll make it all easier on us all. And I will get you the proper site. And that way we're not messing around, are we? There we go. Now that is... Boom. Right, check that out. It's in the chat box. So now you know exactly where to go. Right, moving on. I just want to say hello to Will Change in the chat box. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. Good to see you. And to everybody else in the chat box that's there, hovering around, thank you very much for joining me this evening. There's a lot I want to go through because there's a lot that's happened this week. So what I'm going to do now is play a song, and we'll come straight back after this. If you look in the middle of the site, at the top middle of the site, you'll see a little proverb there. Legend says when you can't sleep at night, it's because you're awake in someone else's dream. Keep pondering that. I keep pondering that. It'll make sense to me properly soon. Really good news. After me, the Green Man's back with the Green Man Sessions show. He's going to be doing an hour for a couple of Mondays a month. He's got a lot to say, the Green Man. A lot of good things to say. The guy is proactive in every way you can think of. Lovely chap, and a good friend. And he's become, I think it was this time last year that we were on Manchester Radio Online together doing a show, and just from watching his musings on YouTube and the videos that he was putting out, I had to get the guy on, and from that to where he is now, I mean, God, it's just, the guy's a star, and it's great to have him on the station. He's a benefit to all of us. So, yeah, straight on from 11 till 12 tonight, straight after my show. He's on. The man's on. He's back. The Green Man Sessions. Right, to a bit more serious subject. Now, I've just seen Paul from Oldham in the chat box. So I am, mate. Hello to Future Solutions as well, to Southern Chris. I think he's nipped to the shop. So hello to all the Anons and everybody else there. Okay. Now, right. A couple of weeks ago, we actually lost a chap called Paul, who lived in Oldham. Now, we've actually obviously had two Paul from Oldhams in the chat box. So, Paul was a friend of mine, and a friend of a few of the guys at the station, Alex from the Raise Z show in particular. And we used to go to a few group meetings together over the last year or so that I knew Paul. And Paul decided, unfortunately, to hello, Southern Chris, how are you, mate? Paul decided a few weeks ago to take his own life. And on Friday, a few truthers were at his funeral. So, okay, let's go with this here, because I've never wanted to walk out of a church so much. I'm not a religious person, thank God. It's not for me. I used to be. But when you wake up, you sort of drop a lot of this with regards to religion, because it's a control construct in my mind anyway. That's me speaking. I will play the disclaimer, short disclaimer later. I'm sitting here listening to this priest who was actually related to Paul, would you believe it or not? And this priest is, how could I put it? Apart from winding me up completely and the other tutors who were there, this priest, who obviously being a relation, knew Paul a lot better than I did. But the priest was reading out letters from the family, like they do on such occasions. So, where are we up to with this? Right, the priest then therefore starts mentioning that, the letters from his family were saying that Paul was a bit of a rebel. He was always in your face. He always had a lot to say. Was always right at you, and he was very argumentative. And he was, Paul. If you got something to be in his bonnet, he'd go for it. He was great. But his knowledge was fantastic. But a really nice person. The actual priest who was reading these letters out said that Paul believed in these later years that there was a secret cabal sort of governing the planet and causing harm to many people. His family didn't understand that, they said. His brother's words were that Paul's problem was that he wasn't in the now because he was always somewhere else with all this conspiracy stuff. His family didn't get him, and that was one of the main reasons we feel that he sort of took his own life. The church went on to say that he had a mental breakdown in the last hours of his life. Life just got on top of him. Nothing to do with what he believed. He just felt that he'd hit a point and it was a psychotic episode. The church put forward that he just decided enough was enough. And that he's now in paradise by the side of God, by the side of the Lord. He's now at paradise, suggesting then that we are in hell, maybe, on this planet. That's how I took it anyway. If paradise is there, then what is here? At this point, I'm fuming with rage because his family still suggesting in letters that Paul was sort of lost in this conspiracy world, and he still don't get it, and that he was searching for something that he wouldn't find, and my heart sank because I thought, you know what? Truth is, we all know this, don't we? The truth is that we can't really turn to the people that are closest to us. We turn to, like you guys, you're my mates, and we're all each other's pals, and we all help each other, and we go to meetings and with these other websites and these other stations, and we're all one sort of happy family that don't all agree, but we try and make sense of it all together. So it's upsetting when you still hear religion and family members dismissing a person's values, to which possibly led to his demise. Just really confused by it. I've been thinking about it all weekend, and I don't really know how to deal with it. As in, I don't know what to make of it. It's such a heavy subject. But Paul, I will say this lastly. For somebody I only know and knew such a short time, made a great impact on me. He's a cracking lad, excuse me. And he's going to be missed. And his knowledge is unbelievable. His slant on things was just unreal. He'd look at a subject and he'd look at, and his observations were just completely, in opposition. It was amazing. And just reading a comment there by World Change, saying that the energies are all over the place. The energies I'm finding that in a minute. The energies are bananas. There's such highs, there's such lows, there's such confusion around at the moment. And I've heard twice today that, the veil is lifting. Things are coming to a head. I don't know. Last month I was convinced that, things were coming to a head. And this month I'm convinced that things are coming to a head, but not as quickly as I thought they would be. And I'll sort of go more into that after. I'll tell you what. Let's have a bit more music, because that's a heavy subject. So let's have a bit more music, and then we'll come back straight after this. I'll tell you what. Let's have a bit of a dance show. Let's have a bit of a rave. Let's go back to the 90s. The Critical Mass Show at criticalmassradio.co.uk. If you want to give me an email. If you don't, then don't. And don't send me emails about how big my nose is on the new picture, please. I've already got some of them. I know what it is. It's there. Well, I've tried to airbrush it out, because that's how vain I am. Anyway, guys, hope you're well. Good to see you in the chat room going bananas. Hello to Paul Rippon, who is listening. Paul Rippon from the Unpen Show tomorrow with Andy from 9 to 11 p.m. Always great guests, always great entertainment, always bringing you the truth, tells it how it is, black and white in your face. That's how it is. Straight after the Panwell Show with Ben Emily Jones, and straight before the Totnes Hemp Show with Chris Bowlby tomorrow night. So the couple of a bit of a shift round. We're shifting things round. Oh, Pete's in. Oh, Pete Charles. Good evening, sir. Hope you're well. Right. So we mentioned Paul, and we're mentioning, basically discussing, how can we put it, energies, and that energy is up in the air right now. I'm interested to see really if this is, people talking about the planets aligning at the moment. There are energies at force outside of ourselves. Things are in the mix. It's nothing to do with the powers that be. This is just a general, it's always going to happen. We're here now because it's our time. This time is coming. If we were here or not, it'd be another set of people. And, this is supposed to happen regardless. Right, okay. All right, let me just do this then, because I wrote this question down, because when you live alone, you do start talking to yourself and writing things down. It does get you like that. Sad. Right. Do I think the system, the matrix, will collapse completely? Do I think the system, the matrix, will collapse completely? I'm talking like in our lifetimes. Thank you, Yvonne. Yes, because that little clip was from Good Will Hunting. Before that, we had the song didn't we? Guru Josh, 1990s, Time for Guru in 1990. Classic dance tune. Thank you for that. Yeah, the question was, do I think the system, the Matrix, will fall right now, today? What do I think? Are we going to see a demise that will sort of, because the snow, the ball's already rolling, it's gathering pace, the momentum's there. Are we just going to see all of a sudden that we're going to wake up one day to see that the rats have left the ship and freedom reigns, and the awakened have basically pushed people towards the edge, and everything's fine and rosy one morning? That's what I'm trying to say. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Do you think the system's going to collapse, or do you think it's going to just evolve into a system that's more beneficial for the majority? Yes. Ish. Don't know. Hard to answer that one. Right now, it's very hard, isn't it? I'll tell you what, let's look at it this way. Let's look at it from a Matrix point of view. Let's look at it like this. George Lucas has just sold the rights to the Star Wars sort of name and brand to Disney. For all of you who are interested, I am, because I love Star Wars. There's money amassed on that contract. They're talking about 3 new films in 2015. That is Matrix at its height. I mean, we're talking about the biggest film of all time, arguably. Another 3 films, if that's not a distraction, because it's distracted me, then I don't know what is. So when people are planning that far ahead, and we know the mainstream media, who they are and what they're up to in the main, in general. So these guys aren't giving up the fight. These guys aren't going anywhere. These guys aren't looking at the demise of the system. These guys are, head down, foot pedal to the metal. They are carrying on. Okay, and if it is to blind us, if it is to sidetrack us, they're doing a bloody good job of it, because you couldn't have picked a bigger film to do it with. So when I see things like that, when I read and hear, then I wonder how far these guys at the top are actually worried about what is happening. Do they sense? Do they care? Do they believe? Or do they really just think, do you know what? Let's just go with it. Let's just make hay, because there's only a few years left, and we're going to make hay and then get out of here and go live underground in big caves and caverns. I don't know. But do you see where I'm coming from? It's hard. It's a hard question to sort of go with. But these are the sort of things that I write down. Pete says, but they know the game's almost up. Well, this is it. From one side of things, it does. It would be suggested that they know the game's up. On the other side of it, you think, well, or is this a whole thing about 2015? Another 3 Star Wars films coming out, Disney taking over. Is that just a distraction in itself? That will never happen. These are the questions. People think I've got an ego. Oh, love it. Love that jingle. Thank you, George. Okay, right. Fireworks. I fucking hate fireworks. I mean, if you've got pets, excuse the French guys, but they are a pain in the arse, aren't they? I have sort of a wealthy family living at the back of me, as in a wealthy family in a not so wealthy area. So every year he has half of Manchester round in his basically in his grounds, and they throw a huge firework party, and it's World War II reenactment. It's unbelievable. You can't do anything apart from just sit there, and there's nothing to be done, because there's like the sound is so loud. Anyway, this happened on Saturday, so it got to a point where it wasn't stopping and being. What I noticed is, since I've turned 30 and I'm almost 40 now, that I've turned into a grumpy old fart, and things like that get to me. So I called the police and said, "Excuse me," and they was sort of shouting at them at this point, and basically said, after a lot of questioning, there's a bit of a firework episode going on, and can you do anything about it? It's 11:15. I'm trying to have my Horlicks here and go to sleep, and I can't do anything. And after more questioning, they basically said, look, there's nothing you can do, because for 10 days after, up to 10 days after, people can have firework parties. So there's nothing we can do. So just put some earplugs in and basically forget about it. Really, that's just a boring fact that I thought I'd put to you, so you know for next year when you're sitting there thinking, God, when I thought Bonfire Night had finished, that's all still going on. So there's something for you to remember next year, okay? If there is a next year after 2012, right? The flu jab. The flu jab. Here's some good stuff. This is good, right? This is good. I was at the doctor's last week. Going to get a bit of treatment for my sort of constant headaches, migraines, etc. Blah blah boring stuff. Yep. And I couldn't get into the doctor's. It was just packed full of people. And I mean, when I talk about packed, I mean it was. I actually said, "Is there a famous doctor in it?" That's what I said because I couldn't get in. And then I saw these ladies in yellow tabards, I think is the word. What's that word? Tabards. And asked a question, and they said, well, yeah, it's free flu jab day. I was like, really? Free flu jab day? Come and get your flu jabs. You know, you might as well have had a sandwich board on stood outside. Come and get your free flu jabs. I thought, wow, right, okay, this is unbelievable. So I'm stood there. So my appointment's being put back by half an hour because all the doctors have given up basically their slots for the day to administer these jabs. So I'm being impatient anyway. I'm bubbling after 10 minutes. I am fuming because I don't want to be kept waiting. And then I'm watching all these numbers being called out, and then it hit me. It was awful, and I just, you know, number 27, and people pushing, excuse me, coming out 30 seconds later after having a jab. And I thought, this is right. We know what goes in. We kind of know what goes into flu jabs, don't we? Well, I'm going to help you with that because I took out a little flyer. A little leaflet. It's a well-presented leaflet. You might have seen these. Basically, it says, get your flu jab now. It's got a picture of a snowman. I was like, right, okay. Giving these out to kids, by the way, with the parents. I'll just read some of this out for you. If you're not flu vaccinated, you can leave yourself exposed. You can breathe in the virus from droplets in the air. Flu is not as simple as a cold. Flu is a serious viral infection. It can affect you for over a week, making you exhausted, achy, shivery, and unable to get out of bed. I thought that was just turning 40 that did to you. You should especially consider having the flu jab if you're more vulnerable to its effects. Please see overleaf, blah, blah, blah. Right, it carries on. You may feel fighting fit, but you should consider having your free seasonal vaccine if you have. I'm going to read this out, guys. A heart problem, respiratory problems such as asthma or breathing difficulties, including bronchitis or emphysema, kidney disease, liver disease, diabetes, previously had a stroke or a mini stroke, and your neurological condition like multiple sclerosis or cerebral palsy, lowered immunity due to disease or treatment, for example, no spleen, cancer, chemo, radio, HIV. So if you've got basically every sort of condition under the sun, you still got to have this jab. It's recommended. So I did a bit of work and I found this site, and I'm going to put it in because, all right, listen, what I will say is I do search around just to make sure not everything is true that you see on the internet, but I did find this site, and I'll let you guys decide as well. But it brought up some interesting information, so I'll put that there for you. Now, I'll read it out to all those guys who are listening. It's Mercola.com. Take control of your health since 1997. Flu vaccine exposed, it's the headline, it says. So I'm just going to scroll down here. The flu vaccine likely does not prevent the flu nor protect against the vast majority of flu-related deaths. The problem with flu statistics, it goes on to say, how is the flu vaccine made? There is another area that many people do not understand or take into consideration before getting a seasonal flu shot. In January or February of each year, health authorities travel to Asia to determine which strains of the flu are currently active. Based on their findings in Asia, they assume that the same strains of viruses will spread to the US. At this point, US vaccine manufacturers start making that season's flu. Okay, that's the US. But if it's happening there, it'll be happening across the world, okay? let's go on to I don't want to say ingredients, but let's just say what makes up a flu jab, a vaccine jab. The flu strains selected are cultivated into chick embryos for several weeks before being inactivated with formaldehyde, which is known as a cancer-causing agent. They are then preserved with thimerosal, which is 49% mercury by weight. Mercury by weight, so don't get that confused, okay? Even many healthcare professionals are confused about this and are not aware that the preservative thimerosal is mercury. As a quick side note, that goes on. Aluminium triton X, a detergent, it says. Phenyl, that's carbolic acid. Forgive me for reading these wrong. Ethylene glycol, which is an antifreeze. Beta trioxytone, a disinfectant. Non-oxytone used to kill or stop growth of STDs. Oxytonal 9, a vaginal specimicide, and sodium phosphate. That is what people are getting injected with, and you tell me that any of those ingredients, again, for want of a better word, helps things like multiple sclerosis, cancers, liver disease, kidney disease, because it fucking doesn't, excuse the French, but it doesn't. So, just to clarify, another site I want you to check out here, because the makers of this, basically that are connected to this food jab, or a company called Crucell, Crucell. If it's not an all C, well, it looks like an eye type icon. I'll put that in the chat room for you. These guys are the guys that are peddling this stuff, basically, and they're splattered all over this NHS flu jab documents. I stood up after 20 minutes and just out of duty to the truth movement, I didn't want to do it because I'm not one for, I'm alright shouting my mouth off over the radio, but to do it in public I find very hard. But I was sort of overcome because I just saw this meat market of people being injected and coming in and out of these rooms, all with their orange and white tickets. And I just screamed out, I shouted out, I said, "You all being bloody poisoned, you're all queuing up to be poisoned. You need to look into this, you need to look into it like an arse." Sounded like a right arse. And this woman with a yellow tabard grabbed me by the arm, like a school teacher, and she said, "Do you want to pack that in, love? Your job's hard enough as it is without people like you screaming and shouting." And I did. It shut me up. I was like, "Oh, release me." Feeling very stupid. But there you go. I did what I thought needed to be done. Nobody actually took any notice of me. They did just look at me like there's another care in the community patient. Just pat the top of his head and he'll go away. That type of situation. Okay? Strange.
Man's indomitable spirit can never be vanquished. Every fibre of our existence must be stirred to bring the ultimate resistance against tyranny, injustice and oppression, and extinguish these darkest forces of evil. May my arms be so strong as to carry my fallen brothers out of the darkness and into the light, for nothing as long as we live will ever be more important. That's a quote from a chap called Rob Freeman.
That's the Critical Mass Conference. That's basically a week on Saturday. Thankfully, a lot of you guys are starting to take note now, and the word is being spread. It's taken us a few weeks. A lot of people sort of umming and ahhing about it. The hardest thing with the truth movement is, if you do anything, is people want to know why you ask for money. The setup for what we're trying to do is, we didn't want just over the top of a pub somewhere we've got some great speakers, and we wanted to sort of do them justice and really give a comfortable environment, because it's a long day for everybody sort of attending. There's so much going into it. It's untrue, but it seems that the radio station, some of the guests that we've had on here, when you consider that they are having their own conferences and people are paying £65 to go and see them personally, it will seem that a lot of things people do want in the truth movement for free, and it just can't be done, unfortunately, while we're in this frigging matrix system. So a few of you guys are saying that the veil is about to be lifted. Well, do you know what? Seriously, that's what we're here for. We're going to keep pushing, and the sooner the better, because our feet are firmly down and we are going for it big time. And maybe this is it, this swirl of energy, negative and positive, and all in between. Here's one for you. A chap that I know used to be a truther, shall we say. He's an old friend of mine, and basically laughed at the sort of truth movement today, made a sort of dig about the truth movement, saying 65 million people and you're only getting so many here and so many there. It's laughable. To which I replied, well, if it wasn't, it would be a lot healthier if it wasn't for people like you who are awake and who stopped the fight just so you could jump back into the matrix and sort of live it up, as it were. And I've not had a reply since, to be honest. Basically, the phone was sort of the conversation ended quickly, and it was a bit of a huff. But it's true. I mean, I spoke to another guy, my best mate, on said about coming to the conference, and he went, "I don't see the point of coming to the conference." And I said, "Sorry." He went, "Well, what's the point?" I said, "Well, it's a strength in numbers, People, you see everybody there. It's great, You start meeting people, and connections are made, and it looks fantastic, and we're moving forward." He went, "Yeah, but what's the point anyway? Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. These guys at the top, it's too far down the line." I said, "Mate," you've got kids, and you're saying things like this. I said, you know what's going on, and yet you are comfortable to say that." He said, "Well, yeah." He said, and this is a guy who gives his kids products with aspartame because he believes that everything is tainted to such a degree that if he sort of carried on, he would not be eating, and either would his children. So he's basically given up, and he's happy just to carry on. Each to their own, each to their own. What can I say? It's just, I basically said, look, if people like you who are awake joined in the fight, we would have had this sewn up a long time ago. There's millions of you out there who just can't be arsed, leaving it to the few who can. It's annoying, actually, I must say. I don't like to say things get to me, but that one's got to me a bit. I just don't fucking wait, come on. It's this burying your head in the sand. Is it an option, guys? I don't think it's an option. Let's sort of cheer things up a bit. It's been quite heavy up to now, hasn't it? This show's been quite heavy. Don't like to do it too heavy. So let's have a look. Let's have a look what we've got here. And that is why, one of the reasons why radio is the most entertaining medium. I love radio. Listen, guys, try to cheer things up a bit, because all these shows are very heavy. But we can have fun while we're doing all this, can't we? We need to have a bit of fun. We work ourselves very hard. We don't pat ourselves on the back enough. And many times, you all know Steve Peck, and growing up in the Matrix, it's one of those things that everybody is used to listen to. Fantastic. Very enjoyable, I must say. Guys, I hope you're all well. We're into the second hour of the show. Well, we've got 45 minutes because the Green Man sessions are up next. And I know that Dan, he wants to sort of get prepped and ready, so I want to give him ample time to basically get set up, because he's waiting in the wings. He's actually doing this. This is how good he is. He's doing it from my hotel room, because he works very hard, because Dan. And like most people, and he's doing that. So he's committed. He's been telling me some things recently, and I hope he's going to talk about them tonight. And just fantastic. I love proactive people in any form. I love people who, no matter what their beliefs are, they act on them. They try and do something about something they believe, and it's just fascinating. I can listen to people like that all day. Just really Really impressive. It's like, God, it's like I'm in love with him, isn't it? Do I keep talking about him? I'm not. He's just a good lad. Right, back to the show. I saw the best. I was talking about before advertising. There's a station, a Wake station, who actually advertises Starbucks. Not Awake Radio, by the way. It's another awakened radio station in America. And they actually advertise Starbucks. I don't get it. Every 10 minutes they put an advert out. Don't get it. How can you be an awakened station and advertise coffee shops, especially ones like that? Don't get it. See, to me, that would turn listeners away, because they go, why is this station advertising something like that when they're in opposition? It just doesn't make sense. I'm very suspicious of things like that. Paranoid even. And again, I reiterate that old saying, that new saying, that just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're wrong, and it's true. It's very true. I just don't get it. I don't know. I mean, okay, let's suppose that we started doing something like that, and we advertise something so blatant from the Matrix. What would you guys do, seriously? Seriously. Because it's never going to happen, because, to be honest, I wouldn't disrespect the other hosts as well. But I was talking about this to Dan earlier, and it's true. You just wouldn't do it. It's okay. It's a way of funding the station, but to what end? I mean, surely you're losing listeners. Any listeners who really know what's going on in the world. It's not a dig at that station. It is. It is a dig at the station. I'm not going to mention it, but I just don't understand that. Toothbrushes, 4 toothbrushes, 69 pence. There you go. I just thought I'd throw that one in, because you could buy one toothbrush now for nearly £3. How the flipping heck has it got to buying a toothbrush to £3 for one toothbrush? £3. I use something called Mizwak or Muzwak. I can never get the saying. Basically it's a stick. It's a piece of wooden stick. It's from a tree. Muslims, you can buy it at these Asian shops. My old Muslim mate, he gave me a lot of these sticks. And basically, you rub your mush with them. You clean your teeth with them. And you can get something like 20 for less than £1. And it's not the most pleasant thing. But a lot of tribes people do that. And you just basically stick this twig into your mouth and clean your teeth with it. I mean, can you imagine seeing that in Tesco? No. So get yourself down to one of these Asian shops and ask for Mizwak or Muzwak. I'll get the correct pronunciation for you. But there you go. It can be done. I'll tell you what, it tastes awful. It tastes awful, but it's got no fluoride in it. It's just a natural piece of wood. Don't know how many of you actually know that. But yeah, get yourself onto that. It beats paying £3 for a piece of plastic that you throw away. They say it's supposed to last for a month, but it doesn't. You know, so yeah, there's another piece of ink. Do you know, the closer I get to 40, the more boring pieces of information I come out with. I want to talk about age, actually, because I want to have a bit of fun with that, with age, and see where people are with it. Because I'm suffering a bit at the moment. I must say, I'm not handling it well. Definitely not. Okay. Critical Mass Show with myself, Paul Giovanni, on Critical Mass Radio. Right, I'm hoping you enjoy the site. It's looking fantastic. I want to say special thanks, because I couldn't say it last week because we didn't have a show, to Paul Rippon, who's helped immensely. Actually, I want to say thanks to all hosts, because they, in their own unique way, do so much. It's such a sort of proactive station. It's fantastic. But the site, you'll see a few more improvements in the next week. Yeah, it's looking good. We're moving in the right direction, and it's got a nice feel about it, hasn't it? While we sort of tackle the right word, while we approach these changing times, while we work with these changing times, shall we say? Right, advertising. The best bit of advertising I've ever seen. Best bit of advertising. Just walking to my local shopping centre, and on a post was a picture. I think I've got one for you here, and it was a picture, a photograph, and it said missing, and underneath it was a picture of a cobra. right? So what would you do there? I mean, that's it. I don't need to say any more, do I? I thought it was fantastic. Straight away, I walked up to this post and to look at this picture, this missing cobra in in the middle of this sleepy town in Manchester. I thought, my God. And then when I got there, it was actually, when you sort of read into it, it was a nightclub that I just opened up, and they were advertising it when you looked at it. So there was no cobra, but I thought, do you know what? You just got my attention, so fair play to you, because that is some clever advertising. It works. Well, there again, as soon as I saw it as a nightclub, I turned off. I couldn't tell you who it was, but I do remember it was a nightclub. Clever advertising. So maybe that's what we need to start doing, is advertising dangerous pets that have escaped, pets, and underneath advertising radio stations and awakened events. What do you think? It works. It works. That's off to whoever that. Right, I've just had a text message off my friend here, Sajid, and I have spelled it wrong. I will put it in the chat room. The wooden stick that you need to ask for to clean your mush with is Miswak. Spelt that MISWAAK. Get yourself some Miswaks. Does the job. We're learning, guys. We're learning together. Onwards and upwards. Love it, love it, love it, love it. As you can see in the middle of the site, we have a whole schedule put out by Lisa. Lisa, who's on the Cry Freedom show on Thursday, just before the Prisoner show on Thursday. You can see it all there. I don't need to read all this out. The Out of the Matrix show tomorrow. Oh no, I beg your pardon, on Wednesday nights. Razor's Edge show with Alex straight after. Thursday's Rolls on Friday, Changing Concert show straight after, and on Sunday we've got the Methods of Mayhem, and we have got another show coming on. You've seen out of Rob Paul. I've not heard from him lately. Pete, yes, he's actually doing a talk tonight somewhere near Liverpool, and basically half the station has gone down to see him. I forgot, to be honest, I forgot all about it, and he's out there doing a talk. He's in big demand at the moment, Rob. So to be fair, I mean, if anything, a lot of people believe in the work that he does, and he will be doing a talk at the conference, of course. If you scroll down to the bottom of the site, you'll see the conference and the speakers there. But he's doing a lot of work at the minute, and he is 24/7. And I will say this, because he's asked me to basically sort of cover him, is he's trying to get round to everybody as best he can. So his shows, I'm going to start repeating his shows and getting them out there a bit more. And yeah, so I'll get on to, don't worry, Pete, I'll get back to you. Right, so onwards and upwards, where were we? So yeah, Cobra advertising, tick that one off, Paul. Speak to the mic, smile when you're talking, it comes through to listeners. These are all the notes that good hosts have. I love it, I love it, I love it. Right, Bill Tarmy, for those people who don't know, let's jump into the Matrix. So a chap from Coronation Street, Jack, and a bit of sad news, I suppose. You know, he's somebody who made me laugh. A good character, seemed like a nice chap. I just thought it was worth a mention. But yeah, you know, talking about age, let's go on to age. Just let me get a drink of water. And when I say water, talking back to the mic, I'm talking about distilled water. Here we go. Second now, I always get a bit dry, excuse me. Right, age, right, let's do cheers, yep. Age, I keep saying this, I keep saying it because I'm worried about it. I'm almost 40. I don't want celebrations, I don't even want to think about the number, I just want it to let it go. I want it to go by. It's not like your 21st, yeah, where you become a man and you go out and you kill your first deer, and you know, you beat your chest, slap your thigh, and that's it, you passed. It's not like that. It's the opposite. It's like, you know, your 20s are party time. Your 30s I found has been this massive transition, this awakening of becoming an adult. And 40, I don't know what awaits me in the 40s, right? But what I will say is, being stuck in the 80s, and I know it's not the last age of innocence anymore, even though I try and hold it dear to me, but obviously there's a lot of 80s music that I play. Now, we all know Wham, George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley, and I don't want to pick on the bloke, but check out Andrew Ridgeley. I saw a picture of him, and Well, do you know what? It was just devastating. I thought, how could someone as fine looking as that man, with all the women that were around him, look like? What is it? To me, age is a curse. And people keep saying, that's very vain, that Paul. That's very vain. You're very shallow. You're so self-involved. But I don't think I am. To me, it's like somebody giving you a kick in the nuts every single day. It's because, I mean, you can see my mugshot there on the screen, and people recently saying I've got fat jowls is one of them. Fat jowls. Okay. All right, that's a new one. Not had that one before. But there are things like this that I just, and it's really getting to me. So, I mean, are you guys like that? Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Because I'm noticing it more and more, and it's, you know, people say, yeah, but Paul, hey, substitute it because you get wisdom, you become, you know, there's the wisdom as you get older. So, you know what? Balls to that. Give me youth any day. Wisdom, I mean, wisdom to me is just knowledge from being cheated or just having negative experience happen to you all your life. It's wisdom, my arse. Listen, when you know, you remember when you could jump out of bed, you could eat fire in your 20s, couldn't you? You know, man and woman, we were just, you know, invincible. And when you start seeing that slipping away, I'm not going through a midlife crisis, am I? But it's just, I'm trying to deal with this, and I like sharing. I just think it's a bit of fun. You know, this age thing, it's not always cracked up to be. People say, yeah, but you start, it's wrong to start looking after yourself more with your looks as you get older. And I think, is it really? Because when you start washing the top of your head because you've got no hair, and when your belly starts wobbling when you brush your teeth, that isn't good. I don't care what anybody says. It is very lookist. I don't care. This is how I deal with it. Night, Pete. Speak to you soon, mate. Cheers for tuning in. Have a good sleep. We're just about to talk about sleep as well, mate. That's going to be the main topic. He says leaving it to the last half an hour. So we're going to play another song and I'm going to come back with that, and this is fantastic. Critical Mass Show, thank you all for listening. Right, sleep. Guys, do you sleep well? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you have bad nightmares? Do you wet the bed? For you younger listeners, do you need to get up 3 times a frigging night to go to the toilet? Does that happen? Touched this on Mark's show last night, talking about sleeping, and a little article was posted, and I thought I'd print it off. It was very, very interesting. Basically, I'm just going to breeze through this because I've got more than I thought I would have for the show, which is a good thing. So, Russell Foster, professor of circadian body clock in brackets, neuroscience at Oxford, shares this point of view. Many people wake up at night and panic, usually because they've left the immersion heater on. But he says, I tell them what they are experiencing is a throwback to the bimodal sleep pattern. But the majority of doctors still fail to acknowledge that a consolidated 8-hour sleep may be unnatural. Over 30% of medical problems that doctors are faced with stem directly or indirectly from sleep. Stem directly or indirectly. But sleep has been ignored in medical training, and there are very few centres which help. So let's look at this. Let's get the best bits. So, basically, they're saying that in historical accounts, people used to meditate on their dreams. So they used to sort of wake up, sit there, and meditate on their dreams. Today we spend less time doing those things, says Jacobs. It's not a coincidence that in modern life the number of people who report anxiety, stress, depression has all gone up. So next time you wake up in the middle of the night, think of your pre-industrial ancestors and relax. Lying awake could be a good thing for you. No, you can't. Not in this day and age. I'm sorry, but you can't. You've got things to do. We need to sleep. That's if we are tempered with this 8-hour sleep that we have to have. Strong evidence of this shift in attitude is contained in a medical journal from 1829, which urged parents to force their children out of a pattern of first and second sleep. So what they're basically saying is, when you read into this, that people used to sleep twice for a few hours and then wake up, do a few bits and pieces, and then go back to sleep. What they're saying is, because with the this is the invention of the candle and the oil lamp, before that people basically retired early to sleep, and therefore sort of their natural body clock was with the I mean, this is all common sense when you think about it, but it's interesting nonetheless. That's really the condition that first appears in literature at the end of the 19th century. At the same time, the accounts of segmented sleep disappear. So we're talking of once lighting became available, that people started staying up late, basically, doing rude things to each other, going out, doing nasty things to each other. There was a life beyond darkness, if you like. And then this interrupted sleep patterns to modern day when industrialization came in, with all the mills and the factories, and then people sort of were forced into this sleep pattern, unnatural sleep pattern. So when you think about it, that before the invention of the candle and the oil lamp, I think it was France, it says in Paris in 1667 was the first city in the world to light these streets. London didn't join ranks until 1684. Causes fires, that. So it's interesting to see that these sleep patterns that we are forced into now are actually very unnatural. The hotter countries, but the siesta that we have, couple of an hour or so in the afternoon. Even this, I think Churchill used to say, take all your clothes off in the afternoon, prepare yourself for a sleep, get yourself 20 minutes, no more, no less, and that will sort of fix you for the rest of the day. Hiccup, because he was an alcoholic, supposedly. So there's a lot in this, and it sort of took a bit of guilt from myself away. I'm hoping it will do that for you guys as well, because it's interesting to know how many people do put a lot of sway on getting the right amount of sleep at night time when you do, prep yourself. It's interesting. Yeah, there's more to that, but what I want to do is play a little clip for you on sleep paralysis. Has anybody experienced sleep paralysis? It's not funny at all. It's actually an awful, awful thing. People are trying to make sense of it. Obviously, we've had the old, it's a troll, and we do get trolls that it could be troll. And it's, these creatures at the night, they've all these sort of myths that, we're getting tampered with in our sleep. So let me just find this. I thought quite interesting. It's only 7 minutes long, but it's enough to suggest otherwise. Sleep paralysis. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. I used to suffer from sleep paralysis. It's been a long time. I'm talking a good 10, 12 years since my last episode, as it's called. And I just looked at the chat room. If you guys, it seems that many people have sort of suffered this. I don't know. It's I will not have that. It's something that you're half asleep, and it's something that you bring on yourself. My experiences, and maybe I'll go into it again. It's because they were so bizarre and so frightening, and a lot of what that gent says there is David Hufford, beg your pardon. He's right. It's funny because my experiences sort of coincided with a lot of experiences in the house that I lived in, and once moved away from that house, never experienced again. I do know people who have moved in to that house and have had experiences very similar to what I've had. So I'm finding it hard to believe that it's something that we bring on ourselves. We're all different, aren't we? And that brings me back to the little quote at the top of the site. Legend says that when you can't sleep at night, it's because you're awake in someone else's dream. Starting to make more sense, is it? Are we? We're getting there? Do you know what I mean? Right, okay. We've got 15 minutes left before I get the dancer on, the Green Man, with the Green Man Sessions. I love that name. I love that name for sure. I like the way he's added sessions at the end there. I think it's good. The Green Man Sessions with Dan. Okay, right. So yes, it's all to do with sleep. It's a funny thing. I'm interested in this because I started sleeping a bit in the afternoon now. It's because just with the station, etc. That I work from home, and it'll be just at a point in the day where I'll just hit a wall. It's usually around 2:00. Yes, after I've just eaten, and I just sort of like fold over for 20 minutes. And then I'm back up and fighting fit, ready to go again. And I'm having less sleep at night. It's waking up till like 6:00 and getting about 5 or 6 hours sleep, which is alien to me. But I seem to be all right on it. Actually, seem to be doing a bit better on it, really, if anything. So I'm interested in that, and now the guilt's coming away from me. That's good as well. Okay, right. A couple of headlines. because we're in a recession. Next unveils planning bid for new £10 million store. This is in Manchester. Stagecoach in 12 million bid to buy first buses from Stagecoach. So there's two big deals going through. Beer tax putting jobs in jeopardy. Right, recession. Recession for people with no money. Let's say it that way. Somebody gave me a comment, not a comment, beg your pardon. Somebody put it to me the other day and made a lot more sense of it. A great one line, and I thought, yeah, exactly right. It is, these people that basically have no money that are going to be feeling it, because the guys at the top don't feel it, never do. Pisses me off, excuse the French. I'm doing a lot of Spanish tonight, aren't I? So I sound like Alex. Cheap power to the people, thousands to join forces to get better deal from energy giants. Guys, wake up to that. That really winds me up. We're talking about electric cars now, aren't we? And, hybrid cars. And, oh, for the love of God, there's a biomass plant happening in the side of Manchester where I live, and everybody's opposed to it because of the pollution, this, that, the other. And if people just wake up, they would see that there's all this energy, this free energy to a degree that's been kept from us. It really bugs me. I'm going to play another song. Earlier we played Elisa, the gorgeous Elisa from Italy. She's the one. Fantastic. Yeah, another restraining order on her. Right, guys, almost at the end of the Critical Mass Show with myself, Paul Giovanni. Up next is Dan Okonoski. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for everybody who's listening outside the station, across the world, everybody who's listening on podcasts, everybody who listens to the shows and supports the station. I love you very much, and I thank you all. Seriously, I do thank you all. It's very good of you. We're all moving in the right direction because we've got a job to do. Right, so let's have a look. What have we got left? It's just because we're about to finish. For those of you outside the UK, Tottenham Hotspurs is a club in the south of England, and has been accused, well, its fans have been accused of anti-Semitic chanting. The statement put out by a chap on a sports channel was, well, I tell you what, how many Jewish people do you think there are in Britain? Because this has floored me. I don't think it's right, because I think a lot of the statistics that this so-called government put out are wrong anyway. Well, how many Jewish people do you think are in Britain to actually will take offence to this so-called anti-Semitic chanting from guys at a football match? I still think this is part of the control. I think they're using football as a control at the minute through Twitter, etc. But it was put forward that there were 250,000 Jewish people in Britain. That to me is just way off by millions, surely. I don't know. It's thrown me that. I mean, we hear, don't we, of all these sort of minorities in England, and it just isn't right. I mean, we're not stupid. How stupid do you think we are? Seriously. When they're trying to break us down at every level, it just beggars belief. Right. Do you know what, guys? I think I'm going to end it on there, because I want to finish in a couple of minutes. In a few minutes' time, I'm going to play out with one more song. What I'd like you to do is, just before Dan comes on, is basically, you can see now on the site that we've got a listen live button, and all you need to do really is refresh your screens, press listen live, and Dan's show will show. It will show on display. You just click on the show. Some of you guys will have to press the on there button on there. Some of you guys, it will just come straight on. We are looking at another method to make this easier, because we're looking at going on into the night, and looking at taking on a few more shows, looking at going on to about 4 a.m. There's a few guys that prefer, a lot of you guys like to stay up all night, don't you, talking, and so we want to sort of accommodate that as best we can. And a lot of the American listeners that we get to do get a lot of hits from the States, listen to a lot of the shows, and that's true. It's fantastic that we see it, especially through Blog Talk as well. So guys, again, thank you very much. You have 15 minutes before Dan comes on, so get yourself just a bit of hot chocolate before you calm down for our 8 hours subjected to sleep. And I'm going to play out with, for me, the greatest band of all time, still going strong now. This song was released in February of 1990. It's still a classic. I don't know anybody who doesn't like this next song. It's again a fantastic band. Enjoy Dan's show. Thank you for listening. Love you lots, and I'll see you all next week.